Hello everybody and welcome to the Binding of Isaac Afterbirth Top 10 Deal with the Devil Items list. It should be noted that you may not agree with my list, and you are allowed to because that is your own opinion, but these are what I believe are the top 10 Deal with the Devil items in the game currently. It should be noted that we have some honorable mentions for our list, those being the Pact, I know, it did not make the list, any of the Guppy items excluding Guppy's Hairball because Guppy's Hairball is hot trash, Lil Brimstone, which is one of the best familiars in the game, and Ceremonial Robes, which is a, basically damage up and great survivability item, as well as Satanic Bible, which allows for some extra health. All of the items on our list will be basically graded on a scale from 1 to 10, with every item being above a 4, so basically a 5 to 10, and we have 3 categories that we'll be scoring them in: damage/survivability, the coolness factor, and synergies. So with that being said, let's move on to number 10. Coming in at number 10, we have Empty Vessel. And I know a lot of you may be saying, really Tyler? Empty Vessel? The Pact isn't better than Empty Vessel? Empty Vessel, in my opinion, is a great new item that came in the Afterbirth expansion that allows for some really good survivability despite not giving any good damage. Or does it? For a damage/survivability, I'm giving it a 6. As soon as you pick up the item, you're going to get 2 black hearts, and every 40 seconds, if you have no red hearts, you're going to get invincibility. So that basically allows for any damage to be done if you have an orbital. So that's where you kind of get a higher damage rating from this item with the survivability of the invincibility. I'm giving it a 6 on the coolness factor just because being able to fly once you get no red hearts in the item is really nice as well, and getting invincibility is pretty cool. I'm also giving it a 6 for synergies just because the ability to have something like Mom's Knife or a high damage dealing orbital allows for the invincibility to really take off with the item. Coming in at number 9, we have one of the new Afterbirth familiars, Succubus. I'm giving it a 7 on the damage/survivability scale, only because the radius in which the Succubus can do damage actually stacks with Isaac's damage. So the more damage Isaac gets, the more damage Succubus is going to do. It'll also give a 1.5 times damage multiplier while Isaac stands in the little circle, so it allows for some unique plays that kind of make Succubus a cool item to play with. I think it's definitely in the top 10 for the items. I'm giving it a 6 on the coolness factor just because it allows for kind of a different style of play, and also a 6 for synergies just because something like Box of Friends can make Succubus basically fill your entire screen at times. So there's Succubus for you, coming in at number 9. Coming in at number 8, one of my favorite Deal with the Devil items in the game, we have ABADDON. I'm giving ABADDON an 8 on the damage/survivability scale because as soon as you pick it up, you're getting a 1.5 times damage multiplier, you're getting a 0.2 speed up, and you also have the ability to get Fear Shot when you damage a enemy. ABADDON's also going to replace all of your red hearts, which if you pick up ABADDON in the early game is usually a benefit because you're going to get 6 black hearts in return, and it's honestly going to do you better to have the extra black hearts than it is to have the extra red hearts and lose the red hearts because you pick up ABADDON. So ABADDON's coming in at an 8 on the damage. It's going to have a 7 on the coolness factor just because, hey, having more black hearts and mixing up your entire run is pretty cool. Synergies, though, I'm only giving it a 5 because you can't really synergize with ABADDON. Obviously, it's going to take the synergies of your tiers, but there's nothing super special. It's like, oh, that's going to work great with ABADDON. So coming in at number 8, we have ABADDON. Coming in at number 7, we have Judas's Shadow. Judas's Shadow is our first item to get a 10 on the damage/survivability scale. When you die with Judas's Shadow, you're going to get a 2 times damage multiplier, and you're going to reset your speed down to 1.1, which is a little bit faster than most characters do start with, so you will get a slight speed up if you haven't gotten a speed up already. But the fact that Judas's Shadow basically allows for you to die and then come back even stronger than before gives Judas's Shadow the 10 in my book on the damage/survivability scale. It's also giving a 7 on the coolness scale, just because, hey, anytime you can die and come back strong, That's pretty cool in my books. And synergies, I'm giving it a 6. I mean, hey, pick up a Suicide King card or something, and you suddenly have a ton of damage, plus a ton of consumables and an item. The synergies could be really, really interesting with Judas' Shadow. So, coming in at number 7, we have Judas' Shadow. Coming in at number 6, my new favorite familiar in the game, Incubus. I'm giving Incubus an 8 on the damage/survivability scale, a 6 on the coolness factor, and a 10 for synergies. Incubus, in my opinion, is basically a double shot deal with the devil. The ability to pick up Incubus and essentially double your damage because you're just getting another thing firing your own tears without any damage delay allows for a ton of damage to be done, and something like Box of Friends could really make Incubus take off and make Boss Rush fantastic, as seen in most Lilith runs. So coming in at number 6, we have the new Afterbirth familiar, Incubus. Coming in at number 5, this one's going to be pretty controversial because the scale probably makes it drop a little bit lower than it could be at. But coming in at 5, we have Mega Blast. The item unlocked when you defeat Mega Satan with all characters in the game. I'm giving it a 10 on the damage scale. I don't think anybody can disagree with that. A 10 on the coolness scale. Who doesn't want to fire the giant Mega Satan blast out of their mouth for several rooms? But only a 5 for synergies. Obviously, something like Charge Baby or Sackboy can make Mega Blast basically, the most overpowered item in the game, even if it isn't already. But really, does Mega Blast synergize with anything else? I also think that Mega Blast is an item that you pick up once every, 50 runs because it's so rare. So you don't see it often. And it's great when you see it, but it's not like hop into the deal with the devil and let's hope for Mega Blast. It's just not something there. So I can't give it as high as our next 4 items. So coming in at number 5, we have Mega Blast. Coming in at number 4, an original Binding of Isaac Rebirth item in the Deal with the Devil pool, and out of the Deal with the Devil pool, we have one of my favorite items in the game, Death's Touch. Coming in an 8 on the damage scale, a 10 on the coolness scale. Really, who doesn't want to just shoot scythes out of their eyes? That's metal as all hell. And I'm giving it an 8 on the synergy scale too, just because the piercing with them kind of allows for some crazy synergies and stuff along those lines. When you pick up the item, you're going to get a 1.5 times damage multiplier, and just shooting scythes out of your eyes is sick. That's really all that needs to be said about Death's Touch, coming in at number 4 on our Deal with the Devil top 10. Coming in at number 3 is what I think is the new item that has to be picked up every time you see it in a Deal with the Devil. Maw of the Void. A new Afterbirth Deal with the Devil item, coming in at a 9 on the damage/survivability scale, a 9 on the coolness scale, and an 8 for synergies. When you pick up this item, you're going to get a 1+ damage multiplier just to begin with, and whenever you use Maw of the Void on an enemy and kill it, there's a chance it's going to drop a black heart. So you're getting an extra damage up just from the ring itself, but you could also get health from it too. In my opinion, it is pretty cool because, it's basically a theme, but you can fire it whenever you want, really. And the synergies, all your tier effects actually synergize with the circle that comes around you when you use Maw of the Void. So if you have Scorpio poison tiers, your ring with Maw of the Void will actually do poison damage to your enemies. I think that makes Maw of the Void definitely one of the best Deal with the Devil items in the game, besides the 2 that we're going to get to next, and you probably know what those are already. But hey, Maw of the Void coming in at number 3 on the top 10. Coming in at number 2, you people probably already guessed it, but we have Mom's Knife. Coming in at a 10 on the damage/survivability scale, a 10 on the coolness scale, and a 7 for synergies, we have Mom's Knife. Basically, in my opinion, picking up Mom's Knife is one of the most crazy items in the game because you're essentially replacing your tiers with basically a giant knife that you can then stab everything in the game, including your mother. And if that's not weird and wacky and just a staple of the Binding of Isaac, I don't know what is. I think that's pretty cool. Sadly, the knife doesn't have too many synergies because it's kind of a weird item to work with. but there are definitely some that can work with it. Brimstone is obviously one that works pretty well with Mom's Knife. Homing knives are pretty awesome. Stuff along those lines can make Mom's Knife even better than it already is. But obviously a top 2 Deal with the Devil item coming in at number 2. Finally, from the original Binding of Isaac Flash game, coming in at number 1 on our top 10 Deal with the Devil items, we have Brimstone. Coming in at 10 on the damage / survivability, a 10 for coolness, and a 9 for synergies, we have the blast firing Isaac red laser churning item that allows for just massive room clearing, cool synergies with homing and Tammy's head and all kinds of stuff that can just win runs as soon as you pick it up. And who doesn't want to just fire a giant laser blast out of their mouth whenever they decide to fire a tier? Brimstone is definitely the best Deal with the Devil item in the game, in my opinion, and anybody that chooses to pass it up, I don't know what you're doing. So this is the top 10 Deal with the Devil items in the Binding of Isaac Afterbirth currently. If you enjoyed this and would like to see me make a top 10 Angel Deal or top 10 Consumable or something list, just leave a comment down below with your ideas and opinions and tell me what's wrong with my list and why Guppy's Hairball should be on the list or Brother Bobby should make the list instead of ABADDON or something. Leave me some wacky ideas down below and I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.